Yeah. Big up every massive out of Zimbabwe. What's up, what's happening? Welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the artists and top trending topics, broadcasting live and direct from the nation of Zimbabwe. In Africa, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening in Zimbabwe? What in Zimbabwe? Yeah, fellow Zimbabweans, as we are seeing the general continue to rise, and it's all in our eyes. Yes, now what we see a ZanuPF insider giving do we say a shocking reveal or an interesting reveal? So, what does he talk about? He says, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga is set to take over from Zimbabwe President Emmerson Mnangagwa. General Chiwenga is Zimbabwe's next leader. ZanuPF official boldly announces as infighting intensifies. Yes, sir. ZanuPF infighting intensifies. Zvigananda zviri ku-intensive care unit takazviona zvichizvitengera maambulance because gore rino komana pacharwariwa zvisati zvamboitwa ever before. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, my network is playing up. But what do we do when the network play up? We don't stop. We do what? We continue to give you good people a good broadcast. Big up to Ray Bush watch live right about now. To everybody who's watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can get your names so I can give you my shout out. We're seeing a lot of questions coming from the nation of Zimbabwe. Anzine Mungwe is General Chiwenga, Zimbabwe's Messiah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing massive support like we never seen before in the nation of Zimbabwe, pouring out to the Vice President. Yes, we're talking about none other than Constantino Chiwenga there. Former ZanuPF political party is set to collapse. Late jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, word on the street is that General Constantino Chiwenga is being tipped as Zimbabwe's next president, and this hot takes come straight from ZanuPF's own loud mouth. Are we talking about none other than Killer Zivhu. And what does he talk about? Yes, Killer Zivhu, that is his actual real name. And no, he is not a James Bond villain. Zivhu takes it to X, basically saying Chiwenga is got next after Mnangagwa is done. And don't bother with party congresses. Those are just fancy meet and greet. Bold move, Killer. But hold up, the ZanuPF party has got more drama than Mukadota, Paraffin, and Bastop TV combined. With their big October conference looming, it's like Team Mnangagwa versus Team Chiwenga, and the clothes are out. Political analysts are calling it the party is splitting faster than a bad sitcom marriage. On the side, you have got Mnangagwa die-hard supporters may be scheming to keep him in power past his term limit so that they keep on looting. Because who needs a constitution, right? On the other hand, on the other land, Chiwenga crew is all about that smooth succession vibe, and rumor mill is churning. Some say Mnangagwa might try to pull a forever president move, which is tearing more beef than Koala Park abattoirs and cold storage commission combined. Yes, now analysts are warning that these fault lines could shake the ruling party ZanuPF, that is already shaking and in tatters. Yes, shake it harder than a late night earthquake. Shake it harder than Beverly Sibanda shaking her backside. So, as we head towards this October showdown, all eyes are on Zimbabwe's political stage. Will it be a peaceful handoff or a full-on factional cage match? Stay tuned, folks, because this year 1 year is gonna be a wild ride. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who also comes to this year party? Guess who also comes to this party? None other than John So. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about John Tan Moyo. Professor John Tan Moyo comes in with his own dig. And what does he talk about? Professor Jonathan Moyo talks about the ZanuPF reshuffles. Now, he calls it a historic reshuffle. Why? Because since the formation of the formation called ZanuPF, the reshuffles we're seeing, ZanuPF has only had 4 secretary generals, and guess who was one of them secretary generals in ZanuPF? None other than Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Yes, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the man himself, So we dig in deeper. We also see none other than Xavier Kasukuwere. Now, Mr. Xavier Kasukuwere, he digs into this political drama that is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. So let us begin with Xavier Kasukuwere. Then we jump over to see what Jonathan Moyo is saying. Now, Xavier Kasukuwere has no kind of words for the ruling party, ZanuPF, or should we say, the fooling party, ZanuPF. Ladies and gentlemen, the fooling around party, ZanuPF. Yeah, the ruling party.
Africa, always on point. Bullseye hitting hard, shaking.
Former ZanuPF political commissar Xavier Kasukuwere has sharply criticized President Emmerson Mnangagwa, accusing him of trying to seize personal control over the ruling party. In a late night post on X on Tuesday, Kasukuwere stressed out that ZanuPF belongs to its collective leadership, not any single individual. Yeah, when someone believes that they own the party, everything splits, everything shifts. ED looks the authority for what he is doing. This is a mistake, Kasukuwere declared. He further clarified that being president does not mean owning ZanuPF. The president does not own the party, my leader. It's not a private company, he stated, signaling strong opposition to any efforts by Mnangagwa to overstep constitutional boundaries. The remarks come amid rumors that Mnangagwa may be seeking to extend his presidential term limit beyond the legal limit. But we see this may no longer the case, as ZanuPF has announced, not officially, but has spoken of a party elective congress to seek the Mnangagwa successor, the next Mnangagwa successor. Are they doing this to seek to outclass Vice President Constantino Chiwenga? If there is a ZanuPF elective congress, will VP Chiwenga get the votes inside the ruling party of ZanuPF? On social media, we're seeing massive support for the Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. He is Zimbabwe's most popular Zimbabwean right about now, Zimbabwe's most supported Zimbabwean right about now. Big up to Chief Malcolm Michaels, says Dr. Clarence the Great. Good to see you, bro, there. Big up, Chief Malcolm. Enough respect. Thank you very much there for that positive feedback. Enough respect, Mr. Malcolm. Nekuti tikangotara tiri tega pana pa pasina mbuti comment com tengeta kufila onge mavuri com. Yes I am. Ndimi Mavura Communication. To those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat so I can see your name, so I can give you my shout outs. Big up to Mr. Ray Bushu and everybody watching us live right about now in Zimbabwe, outer yadi, in the diaspora, wherever you're watching us from. Now, political observers note that Kasukuwere's statements reflect growing rifts within the party and resistance from senior members against moves to centralize power as Zimbabwe grapples escalating political and economic challenges. Kasukuwere's warning intensifies scrutiny of Mnangagwa's leadership, approach and ambitions. Apa political party nema conditions. My way. Ladies and gentlemen, kuita ma-conditions nema-conman panongotaurwa issue yema-corruptions munoitika ma-factions. Who will be defending corruption in the ruling party as ZanuPF? Ndiani anofarira zvecorruption? Ndiani koakora muZimbabwe necorruption? Koyo corruption iri kukorora ani kucorruption? Fellow Zimbabweans, corruption has destroyed our nation. Kuita eruption, yes. Very sad and disturbing thing there we are seeing happening 45 years after independence Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen. Kuti urumende itilene corruption indufende. Imagine. All right, let's jump over to see what the in exile who ran away, Jonathan Moyo, the professor, Zimbabwe's professor wepatukita. Domwo professor ninge mtuingubu aisaziya zaita chakanga ugona kunza 100% local content music. Anyways, now Professor Jonathan Moyo posts these 4 images there showing on the screen. Obet Mpofu, Jacob Mdenda, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, and this other guy there. Let's find out who his name is. Now he says ZanuPF appoints 4th Secretary General in 62 years amid major mid-term Politburo reshuffle. And ZanuPF appoint Chabangu Wabu Wechifo Kuva Mugore ra 1962. Anyways, let us dig in deeper. Alright, my PC just froze there. I'm trying to open this poster by Jonathan Moyo there. Big up to everybody watching us live right about now. Make sure you click the like button and subscribe to TV7 Live if you have not yet already done so that you never miss any of our videos because we make videos each and every day. All right, keep your comments coming. More fire. Laugh like never before says Gold Mafia and Chivayo must be captured. Gold Mafia, ladies and gentlemen. So we're seeing it in party. Wakomana wakajamuka ya. We hear mchangwa chiti munogona kufaka ya. Anyways, more fire there. Big up Chief Malcolm. Says you are the best in the game. Baba Kupakudara. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's all about the environment where I'm broadcasting from. Superstitious will be disturbing my work. Ladies and gentlemen, for many years they've been doing that. So I'm looking for a place to be moving. Hopefully, very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a literal. Do we call them witches? Do we call them delusional witches? Whatever. But people up to the step. In the ghettoized community, those things happen, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is what Professor Jonathan Moyo says. ZanuPF appoints 4th Secretary General in 62 years amid major term Politburo reshuffle. On September 23, 2025, ZanuPF marked a historic milestone by appointing its 4th Secretary General in 62 years, accompanied by a significant reshuffle of Politburo, signaling far-reaching political implications yet to be unpacked. This reshuffle did do so Overstay, the outgoing SG Secretary General, reassigned to the role of Secretary for Information Communication Technology ICT, Jacob Mudenda, previously the Treasurer General and Speaker of National Assembly, stepped into the Secretary General role. Patrick Chinamasa, formerly the Secretary for Legal Affairs, assumed the position of Treasurer General, while Ziyambi, also Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, took over as Secretary for Legal Affairs after serving as Secretary for ICT. So we see, before Patrick Chinamasa would take as a Secretary for Legal Affairs, he would have been a Minister of Justice in the nation of Zimbabwe. Now, Jonathan Moyo, the professor, him continue. What does he continue saying? He says this here on here. Since its formation in 1963 as ZANU, now ZanuPF, the party has seen only a handful of leaders in the pivotal Secretary General role. Robert Mugabe was the first, holding the position for 14 years until 1977, when he was elected party president at the Chimoio Congress in exile in Mozambique. Edgar Tekere succeeded Mugabe as Secretary General at the same Congress. So the guy we're seeing in the other image there is none other than Edgar Tekere there. Okay. Now, Edgar Tekere would serve until August 8, 1981, when Mugabe dismissed him and abolished the post. Mugabe then merged the Secretary General duties to his new role as President and First Secretary of the party. Co-Secretary General wane power, ladies and gentlemen. Secretary General do sengezo chabangu ku triple C ya double C because sisina chamisa kwango sara 2 ma C chete. Amene kuti 2028 election inenge ya triple U here. We're gonna be seeing. Now, to manage the administrative responsibilities of the defunct Secretary General position, ZanuPF created Secretary for Administration. This arrangement persisted until the party's 2022 Congress, which introduced a raft of constitutional amendments that included restoring Secretary General post. Overstay is appointed to this revived role, becoming the 3rd Secretary General in the party's history, a position he held for 3 years until yesterday's reshuffle. This reshuffle not only underscores the rarity of changes to the Secretary General position, but also highlights ZanuPF's evolving dynamics. Strategic realignment and ramifications that are certain to impact Zimbabwe's political landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, interesting where we are headed in the nation of Zimbabwe. What do you think is going to happen next, fellow Zimbabweans? Will Chiwenga succeed? Will Chiwenga succeed to succeed President Mnangagwa?
So listen up to his interview.
So in terms of in terms of direction, where
kwemfundo vana vakaenda vachibva kutegwani vachibva kwatsambe vachibva kwamukaro vachibva kusairimi. These are the people who fought. Vodzoka voenda kuchikoro vapona hondo wopedzera wakuita komanda wavo iwewo. How do you command such an erudite and educated army iwe uri illiterate? You think they can enter themselves to them? Patakaenda kuDRC hauna vakamubhuroka hana kana kumboendeswa kunokomanda.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. He doesn't know anything about that war. I told you. Kambeu Aginyu ndiye akaendeswa chimopo. A field commander of not and uyu hapana zviri papo. He's only pumped up it, I mean nothing else.
So this thing year 2030 dead, is it going to happen?
It's dead because number one, he trapped them. People did not want this guy. Saka pavakanzwa kuti anga ari kuda kuitwa anointed, vanhu vakati tingazva tagara naaripo pane uyu. So it was a resistance against him 2030. But now number one is outsmarted him by saying handisi kuenda ku2030 tiri kuenda kucongress. Iwo vanhu vari kuti we must stick to the constitution.
Now is here Chiwenga. Sorry. We hear Mnangagwa taking jabs at Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga there. Now, VP Chiwenga, what are his chances ekugwina chinu ichi? Does he stand a chance? ZanuPF drama and the road to 2028. Anobudirira ere? Now, in the sweltering heat of Zimbabwe political arena, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, the architect of the 2017 military intervention that toppled Robert Gabriel Mugabe, now finds himself ensnared in a high-stakes game of thrones. As President Emmerson Mnangagwa's second term barrels towards its 2028 expiration, whispers of coups, poisonings, and shadowy dossiers have transformed ZanuPF internal machinations into a bloodless civil war.